Natural Sponge podcast number 7 here today from beautiful Myrtle Beach. Actually, a little stormy out today. I don't know. It's still hot as hell, though. I feel like we're in the biggest heat wave ever down here. Baseball season has been brutal, but at least the kids are back in school and the cooler weather is coming. Confirmed, like we said on podcast number 6, we got Alan Bybee coming in. Campbell Tim's coming in tomorrow. Pretty cool, man. But today we have the man, the myth, the legend. We overuse that sometimes, but I don't feel like it is in this case. The Manimal. Fox Wagner has been a staple in the DW program from the beginning. Fox won the first ever MVP in 2013 for the showcase team, where he was a go-to guy on the mound and was always penciled in at the top of the order. Fox continues to work out in his offseason with the Brotherhood of Diamond Wizards Baseball, who powers Natural Sponge and Friends, by the way, and helps many of the younger Wizards daily in their pursuit to be great on the baseball field. In the house, Fox Wagner. What's up, big fella?
How we doing? How we doing?
Doing awesome, man. The Manimal.
Yes, sir.
Right, we got to start there. How and when did you get the? Because when I moved to the beach, 2011 or 12 or whatever, 7 years ago, I remember seeing like this 8'5". You shrunk a little bit since then.
Yeah.
Like this huge, massive human being on a different field, and this guy was like, "That's Fox Wagner." Like his name's not freaking Fox. You know, is that your real name?
I get that all the time.
I mean,
every single
I have
time.
your birth certificate somewhere in baseball paperwork, and I don't even know. Is Fox your real
Yep.
government name?
Yep. Was my mom's maiden name.
Was Fox?
Yep. So
Sweet.
She named me that because, she thought it was like gonna be unique and something different than the norm.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
And it was a really proud family name. And why not just call me that?
I like it. I like it. But yeah, we see Fox over there, and I'm like, that's not his real name. And this kid is way bigger than the kid I was working out with at the time, who was probably 6 years older than him. But you're still, what, 6'2", 6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah, 6'1". I could get up there in spikes, you know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah, you're 6'3" in spikes, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Or on the roster sheet, you're 6'3".
Oh, yeah, definitely.
6'3", 225, hitting bombs.
Yeah.
Cool stories we got for you today with Fox. I'd like to thank everybody that listened from podcast 1 through 6, all the little goofy videos we put out and everything. Did you see the video of Austin Pageant says, "I feel like an astronaut"?
Yeah,
Dude, that's one of the, I don't know why, it was one of the funniest moments that I just keep watching that video sometimes. It's funny. Yeah. But Fox graduated of Sauk City High School in 2017. Like I said in the beginning, in the opening, baseball guy, coached him. You came over with the showcase team. You were, what, 15 probably?
Yeah, it was right after my freshman year of high school.
Right. And we weren't a bad squad. We had some spots, man. It's like pretty much like every Wizard team we talk about on here. But
yeah,
we had some spots. We had some good guys. Obviously, we're football. That's what we were talking about earlier before. It was football. I want to touch on that later. But graduate of Sauk City High School in 2017 and ended up going to Camden County Community College in South Jersey.
Yeah, South Jersey, right in the Gloucester Township area. Right there in Blackwood.
Shouts to Frank Nicolosi up there.
Yes, sir.
Frankie Figs, the Fig Leagues, baby. So how did you end up, and now this what, 2 days from now? 2 days from now, you're moving up to West Virginia Wesleyan, Division II school in West Virginia. What town is that in?
It's Buchanan.
Buchanan. Gotcha. Where did my wife was in Charleston.
Okay,
so she graduated from up there.
I'll be about 40 minutes away from Morgantown, which is where
Barneyville,
where the WV is.
Yeah,
that's where the big school is.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So we were talking earlier, and it's a cool story. I want guys to hear. So you're coming out of so you're a young guy growing up. You're bigger than everybody. You're better than everybody.
Yeah.
You're hitting bombs. You're throwing gas. I remember your dad was telling me a story one time about you where you were throwing gas like 15 miles an hour harder than everybody else. And you went out and you faced like the whole lineup twice, and you had struck out everybody pretty much.
Yeah. And
nobody was even catching up. It was just fastballs.
I remember my first time playing like in a big tournament. I think it was a Triple Crown tournament. I was 11, and we're playing this team. It was pretty famous around here. They're Rock Solid Baseball.
Oh yeah.
And they were pretty prestigious for a long time, way before I even started playing travel ball. And I remember I struck out the first 9 guys I saw.
There you go.
And that was like sort of when I was, man, I could probably pitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could really do something with that going forward. But I also loved hitting.
Right. So it's,
yeah.
I'm a two-way guy now. And so in high school, you were on varsity. When did you get on varsity?
I got on varsity my junior year. Actually, yeah. Cause,
and you had a couple guys before you, though.
Yeah.
Like, y'all had some studs up there.
Man, I remember the years before on the varsity team, I mean, they were finishing third in state for I think it was about 3 years in a row.
Right, yeah. They were big. They were a big team. Hudson was obviously still there, obviously, at the time.
Deep at every position, studs everywhere. You know, Hunter Renfro, Kyle Smith, you know, Dalton Smith, like just all these guys were just so good, you know. And so I didn't really get a crack at it till my junior year, but that was the right time.
Right, of course.
That was the right time.
I mean, everybody's time is different, especially when, like, we had, I think, 12 or 13 seniors graduate my freshman year, you know, so it's like wide open as a sophomore. And you know, everything works out differently. But you remember, I know you remember Coach Doherty?
Yep, he was my JV coach.
Right.
I love that man.
Somehow, and Coach Taylor, you better still be listening, man. So when you hear this, you can shoot me a text. Somehow, Coach Doherty coached Coach Taylor when he was growing up. He's from Maryland, right?
He coached everybody.
Yeah, the guy's a lifer, dude. Like, this guy's coaching people in Florida, and he's from like Texas or Maryland or something. So he knows a lot of guys. So that's pretty cool. So you're on varsity. You're tearing it up, hitting bombs. Did you ever hit one in the palm tree out at Sockasty?
Hit one over the palm tree.
Over the palm tree, boy. That sucker hangs over the fence, though. Right?
It does.
It's cool.
It does. That's actually kind of a. It's weird at Sockasty. That's kind of a chip shot. Yeah. Left center, because people don't know this.
It's
but
a chip shot for the Manimal.
Yeah. If you see the field in the aerial view, like looking down at it, it's 311 in the corner, so that's that is a chip shot. But it actually comes in a little bit even more, right along the corner back there, and then it shoots out to like 350.
Yeah.
So, but the palm tree is right before it goes.
That's why I had to bring it in to get it inside the palm tree.
So I mean,
because we're at the beach, you know, it's cool.
There's some parts of the field where guy hits a home run, everybody's like, oh, that's a bomb. You know what I mean?
Like, dude, but really, it's not 315.
Yeah.
He hit that building. What is the building, like 325?
Yeah, it's like right over the fence.
Yeah.
But it looks good either way.
Yeah, right? I mean? Any bombs look good. So you're there, and this is one I wanted to touch on for sure, is you're playing football. Yeah. And you were a hell of a football player.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Well, a lot of people down here thought you were. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, I think I see you at in a parking lot at a baseball field. We were leaving a Wizards game. It was you and your dad. Shouts to Scott, though. Dude's a G. We'll get on to Scott later. But the good hair runs in the family, I guess.
It does.
So we're leaving, and me and my dad are walking out, and we see you. I hadn't seen you in probably like 4 or 5 months, and I think we dapped each other, gave each other a hug and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think you were going into your senior year.
Yes.
And I asked you how football was going. I think it was football time was cranking up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to get out and watch you. And you're like, I quit.
Yeah.
What happened? This is an intriguing story to me for some reason.
As a kid, I played football growing up from when I was 5 years old all the way till I was about in 5th grade. And then I started playing a little bit of travel ball whenever I was going in my 6th grade year of middle school. So I got right into middle school, and that was like whenever I started playing baseball pretty heavy. And I really liked it, And my parents and one of my travel ball coaches thought that at the time football was sort of not the right idea at the time.
Right.
And I was okay with that, even though I loved it. But I just kept playing baseball. And then I remember 8th grade, I told my parents, I said, I really want to play football again. Like, no doubt in my mind, I want to play football again. I miss it. And then so we had the tryouts going right into my 8th grade year. And for the first couple days, I was just trying to do what I did before. Like when I was a kid, I just try to be a lineman again, defensive line, offensive line, whatever they wanted me to do. I remember at the end of the second day, Coach Morris at the time, which was pitching coach at Sockasty for my tenure there, great guy, love him. But he said, "Go. I want you to go over to try to play fullback." And I was like, fullback, all right.
And what year is this again?
The 8th grade.
8th grade
year.
And was this for the middle school team or is this on JV?
Forestbrook Middle. Yeah. And so I was like, I was like, hell yeah. I never really ran the ball before, but I've always wanted to. So I remember the first day, and it was like the first day we were in pads too. So I'm trying to learn the plays and try to learn how to run the ball while people are trying to tackle me.
Right. So you're throwing right in the fire.
Yeah. But that the good thing about that was it actually came kind of natural, and
natural sponge,
baby. and I hit on to it quick.
Right.
So I'm practicing that for about 2 weeks, and we get into the first game of the year, and this is a funny story because I got 2 touches that game. And the first one was a mesh fumble. The quarterback was trying to hand it off to me. They fumbled it because I thought I was going to get it, so I clamped down. He was trying to pull it out. And fumble.
Rookies.
And then the second time was I actually got the handoff, and then I muffed it, fumbled it. So I was like, oh man, I was like, I'm not going to get this again. And they're just going to put me on D-line. I'm just going to stay there.
Just tackle people.
No, but actually, fast forward, I actually had a really, really good year at fullback. I ended up getting the offensive position player of the year and all that on the team.
Right.
Averaged a little over 100 yards a game, getting a lot of touches as a fullback. But then freshman year, high school, I go in, fullback, whatever. And you'll see there's a constant theme of this every year. So I go into my freshman year, fullback, doing a good job, and then they're like, "You want to try to play tight end?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll play tight end. Whatever you want me to do."
With the wheels you have, a wide receiver. Guy runs like we run a 3.9 40.
Dude, I'd be in the pros right now. No, but they put me over at tight end because they wanted Hunter Renfro's little brother Cole Renfro to play fullback. So I was on board with that. He was faster than me anyway.
Yes, everybody. Hunter Renfro went to Sox City High School where the Manimal went.
But so I was doing that. Had a great year there. Scored a few touchdowns. All that. Good job. And then fast forward sophomore year. Going into sophomore year. And this time I actually played a couple games at the desired position I was supposed to play at.
Okay.
And after the first game of the year, you want to play defensive end?
Jeez.
I was like,
you're learning all these positions every year.
Well, I mean, when I was younger and everything, I played defensive line and everything like that, and I did a little my freshman year too. So I was like, yeah, I'll play DN. Had a good year there. Actually, the funnest year of probably any sport other than wrestling I ever had.
Right. Oh, that's right. You wrestled too.
Yeah, I wrestled my senior year.
The Manimal.
Yeah, but
it
was awesome. We tore it up. Our defense was great. You know what I mean? But junior year, okay, this is basically the ending point for me. Junior year, I come out defensive end, right?
And that's where you were finished your sophomore year.
Yeah.
Now were you on varsity as a sophomore?
Yes.
Okay.
I played a bit of varsity freshman and sophomore year, but almost full time sophomore year, on varsity full time again junior year.
Right.
And right before the first game of the year, they're like, we're going to need you at offensive tackle. So I was basically a utility guy for football.
Yeah.
So
did you ever play offense and defense in the same game?
Yes. Every year.
Is that, no offense, is that because you were that good, or is that because Myrtle Beach football actually blows?
That was actually because I was above average on both sides of the ball.
Right.
So they could depend on me to make plays on both sides.
Right.
I wasn't spectacular, but I got the job done.
Right.
But so junior year, offensive tackle right before the first game. And this was a position I had no clue about. I was undersized, and I wasn't good at it at all.
That's a scary world if you were undersized at something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but this was like the heyday of, Myrtle Beach High School and things like that.
Right.
And, Hartsville and these kind of schools and everything, just beast teams.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did that for about 3/4 of the year, and I was bad. I mean, I had no clue what I was doing. I mean, I was strong enough to play it and had the tenacity and everything, but there wasn't anything. There was no substance to the game I was playing anymore for me.
Right. So it kind of takes the fun away from it.
Yeah, and then I'd say about the third to last game of the year, they brought back our offense brought back the tight end position. So they're like, all right, we're gonna put Fox here at tight end for like a blocking back type thing. So I did that, and then bam, tweaked my back. And
there's where we got to. I knew there was an injury involved.
And I was battling it all year, really. Going back into like the summertime, right before my junior year. But it wasn't bad or anything like that. I mean, I'll go get a chiropractor adjustment or whatever, call it good. See you on Friday.
Yeah. But
this was like, okay, there's something wrong. And then the tricky part about this is the trainer at Socastee, Coach Kazee. Good trainer, great trainer. But they didn't know exactly what was wrong with my back, so they would just stretch it out, ice it, do whatever. And then I actually really went to the doctor for it, and they told me I had a stress fracture in my L4, L5.
That's what just happened to Jack Bamer.
So a lumbar, lower back, right side.
Welcome to the family, brother.
Yeah. Well, no, left side. Actually, because when I was younger, I had problems with my lower right side.
Yeah.
So this was the left side I hurt. And I got switched around so many positions throughout my junior year. I wasn't having fun. The whole coaching staff changed, and I didn't. That was the only. I'll never have a gripe about coaching. That's just not how I am.
Right.
It's you either go out there and get it, or because there's no one holding you back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I felt as though that no one's holding me back, but it wasn't right. It wasn't right for Socastee. The tradition was off. You know what I mean? And I said, I told myself one night, I said, I love football, but right now I'm at the point where I only love Friday nights.
Right.
I stopped liking the everyday grind.
Yeah.
And because it was hurting me physically.
Right.
And mentally I was kind of pretty tapped out. And so
that's tough when you get to a spot like that, especially with to touch on what you said with the culture and like just the, we'll talk about that too with the college you're moving to on Friday. But anytime that there's a culture shift or I was telling a story about a coach at a junior college I used to coach against. He went off. He was a big, kind of like a Coach Taylor, get on the bus and he'll roast you. Mm-hmm. Or he would get on the bus and he's dead silent and he doesn't say nothing until you get like 10 minutes from the school or something, and then roast you. But but this guy, this coach, he was telling us a story one day that he about got fired because somebody said something about, are we going to stop to eat? We're about back at school.
Yeah, I remember you telling us that story on the pod.
And he didn't even, the guy pulls his phone out and records the whole thing and puts it on YouTube, and the guy almost gets fired for doing his job and being a coach. You know what I mean? And that's a shift in kids today. It's a shift in culture, and any time, especially in a program like an ongoing high school program or a collegiate program, a culture shift is hard to get out of. And anytime you see that, and that's why you're a special person and special athlete, when you see that, I feel like that probably weighed heavy on you too, because you're only one man. You can't do everything to get everything built back the way it should be.
Yeah, and especially as a junior in high school, you're 16 years old, and it was just one of those things where, I love the way Socastee football was a long time ago. We had a core group of guys every single year that you knew could get the job done, and it was laid back. It was a good atmosphere, and that junior year, and it all changed, and the whole culture, the whole team changed. There was something that just wasn't right, and I guess partly on me, I guess I was a part of the old guard there. You know what I mean? And I didn't like the change,
right?
But I respected it at the same time because they're trying to do something different. But
were you there when the guy from Davie came, the new coach? He was like the most revered guy ever, because that's where I
loved Coach Illing.
Yeah,
Coach Illing was awesome.
He won a couple state championships up in North Carolina.
Yes, he did.
I mean, that's right. Honestly, that's where I was talking on one of the podcasts about Whit Merrifield.
Yeah, I love Whit.
Like that's
I like Whit. I like the way
salty. But no, he I was in right past Winston-Salem in Rural Hall, and he was in Davie, so like that's how close we were. And, but so you were there with him, and I've heard nothing but great things about him.
the people of Socastee liked Coach Illing for a little bit.
Right.
For a little bit. The players once and here comes back with him bringing in a whole new coaching staff is when he brought in a whole new staff and we started losing, it came back onto him.
Of course.
And I didn't like that because I liked Coach Illing. He even at my worst times, he defended me. He loved me.
Yeah.
But he always gave me a shot. But, and I won't blame that on him for trying to change it up and all that, but it was just rough, and I lost the love of the sport. And after that year, recovering from all the injuries I had, and that was rough because I had to heal up pretty quick.
And you're getting ready for baseball.
I was getting ready for baseball, so I had 3 months to, rest up a stress fracture in my back, being in a back brace again for 2 months, and walking like all you can do is walk. Like I had no preparation, you know what I mean? And so that's just kind of where it ended for me. I was like, if I really want to play baseball in the future, because I always wanted to play baseball in college, but so football was just a sport for me where I just had fun and I could let out that anger.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's just like BP over here. What's up, dog?
What's up?
Over here doing his homework on the couch in the pod room. I'm talking to him about basketball. He's not bad at basketball, and I said you're getting to the size now where you're not going to have to shoot anymore. Thank the Lord.
Yeah.
But I mean, you post up and get some running in, and be athletic, and we can talk on that later. But the one sport athlete, what we talking now? What do you think that is? You think guys should play multiple? I don't think guys should be forced, but what do you think?
I think that. I mean, speaking from experience.
BP's over shaking his head no.
Speaking from experience, I played multiple sports, and it was a perfect storm for me. I loved it. I love playing multiple sports because in football, I could talk as much shit as I wanted to.
Right.
I could do anything I wanted basically on that field. And that was actually some of my problems is I got a lot of penalties on sportsmanlike. I mean, I was ejected once or twice.
The Manimal.
I was ejected for a game, and that was kind of a low light for me actually. That after that game, I was like, man, what am I doing? Like
right.
I'm getting pissed at something I can't even control. It's because I don't like the way things are going around me. So it's like I'm trying to change something on the field, get everybody fired up or something like that for the wrong reasons. Right. I'm getting pissed at nothing.
Right, and you're I mean, you look at any successful athlete, they're passionate as hell, and you are a passionate guy. You still are. Yeah. And I remember. I don't know if it was. I think you K'd. This was with the Wizards down in Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
I think you K'd, and I felt bad for the back wall of the dugout.
Because
you beat the crap out of the back wall of the dugout. And once you're done and walk over, give you a little pat on the back or something, keep walking. Because I was the same guy. One time in college, I flipped the bench in the dugout, the whole bench. I was so pissed. I don't know. It was after I couldn't hit anymore, dude. And I just went in and flipped the bench. But it's frustrating. It's passion, though. It's passion. I mean, the guy, you obviously can control that better now. Obviously, it happens as maturity level as you get older. But yeah. So all right. So you're going in. You're trying to get healthy. And one thing I want to touch on. We're going to bring Scott and Lori into this real quick. Fox's mom and dad, awesome parents, great family.
Yeah.
Great hair in the family. How long's your dad's ponytail? Down to his near his waist?
It's
close.
It's a little halfway down his back.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always been like that.
And you just got a haircut, obviously. You had some mad flow, dude.
Yeah.
But the hair we bring on this podcast is unreal, guys. This is what we need. Somebody just send us some dope video camera we can just set up in here because you guys would enjoy the hair. What you looking for, BP?
Pencil?
You got a pencil in your hand there, big guy.
Yeah, it's dull.
Oh, here you. It's a dull.
Mechanical pencils, man. That's the way to go.
Learn
how to write with pens.
I mess up too much.
So we're Scott and Lori, awesome parents, great people. It's got to be something. I mean, it's definitely a special thing for you to have parents like that, especially in a situation where you're losing the love for the game, for whatever sport you're playing. And did they ever say, well, they get mad at you because you're quitting football, or they,
nope.
You know what I'm saying? I can never see them, but I gotta ask because you know how many parents out there like force their kids to do stuff.
Yeah, well, they never forced me to get into football in the first place.
Right.
So getting into football was it was completely up to me. Working and like my dad, my mom and dad, they pushed me to work at baseball because they always knew that that was going to be my sport. Right. For football, it was work out in the summer, get ready in the summer with my teammates, and then right after football ends, baseball. So like when I was playing baseball and stuff like that, I didn't pick up a football.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was football was. I love that it was just a natural thing for me because I could just get right back into it and just have fun. Where baseball, is.
How much work did you put in during football season with baseball and your swing and stuff?
Almost every day.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I still worked at it. Get back from practice.
Quality, not quantity, too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if it was, get back home from practice like 6 or whatever, and then go throw a bullpen, something like that, or go take some swings off the tee in the back net or something like that in my backyard. It was just always some things where, if I was going to be good at baseball, I kind of had to do double time. You know what I mean? Because I love football, but at that age, I still had a little energy to do something more. Yeah. So why not use it?
Right. Exactly. And that's what I tell people a lot about baseball is it's not like shooting a basketball. I could drain. Shout out to the Iceman, my pops. He was like Pistol Pete over there. He taught me how to shoot, and I was lights out most of the time, and I could still go out here today and hit easy 9 out of 10 free throws, and I haven't done it can't remember the last time I went and shot, but hitting a baseball is not like riding a bike. I mean, you don't have to do it every day. You know what I mean? But you need to do something every day, where even if it's not physical, if it's just becoming a student of the game and learning.
Yeah.
Watching the game on TV and not watching it for as a fan, like watch it as a student of the game and see what guys are doing to be successful and stuff like that. And you do that still to this day.
Yeah. I was actually having this conversation with my girlfriend Nicole the other day.
Shouts to Nicole.
Yeah, wifey.
Ayo, ayo, ayo. We just brought it to you live right there.
Yeah.
The future Mrs. Fox.
No, we're talking about how, because she works at this place called Gymnastics Inc., and there's girls in there that are 11. There's actually a 12-year-old girl right now that she told me she's going to be in the Olympics in 2024.
Jeez.
Like, this camp is legit. Like, there's some real ballers out there. But we were talking about how, like, muscle memory works at different ages. Where she says that those little girls that she works with, 5, 6, 7 years old, the ones that can already get on beams and like do crazy stuff.
That's McKinley, yeah.
If they take a week off, they can't even get up on the beam.
Really?
Yeah, like they don't really have much of a muscle memory for it because they're too young.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where like right now, if I like this morning, like I hit with you this morning, if I were to take like 4 or 5 days off and then come back and hit again, it would take me a few swings to like kind of remember like what I was doing or whatever.
Right.
But then after that, I muscle memory comes in, get into a groove and swing it out and do good. But that's just one of the things where the muscle memory doesn't always come in until you're a little bit older and more mature. You're mentally more mature, physically. I think muscle memory. It all comes down to focus and physical. It doesn't even have to be physical capabilities.
Right.
It's just remembering. All right, I put my hands here. All right, I fired my hips at this particular time.
This is what's working for me right now.
Yeah. So I mean, muscle memory is not. It's not a physical thing. It's a mental thing where okay, I did this. Okay, I did this, and then like. I'm in a groove now. I'm good.
Right, and that's one of the things I tell a lot of the guys that work out, especially the younger guys, is there'll be a time where it'll click and you can feel what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You can sit there and I can slap myself in the chest all day saying, "Hey, you're opening up, opening up, opening up." We're not getting the barrel to the ball, whatever it may be, and okay, I got you, and they don't got you. You know what I mean? And eventually there'll be a time. I remember it was me, Bubba, shout to Bubs, my dad again. And I think it was Daniel Gideon and somebody else. I saw a picture that same day, the other day. I was wearing a Wake Forest baseball shirt, Ben Ingle, stud. Jamie D'Antoni. You know who Jamie D'Antoni
Yep,
is?
I've heard of that name.
Guy is I don't even know if he's playing anymore, but he used to go hunting in the off season with Derek Shue, who did the East Coast Bat Company. So
Okay, yeah.
So but anyway, I saw it and I remember specifically, very vividly. It was, I think Pops was throwing BP, and I remember vividly. I took a swing, put it in the trees at Parkland.
Yeah.
And on a high school field, and it was on a Sunday afternoon, and I smoked a baseball. After that day, I knew what I was doing with every part of my body. I knew if I did something wrong, I knew what it was. Everything just kind of clicked. Did you ever have a swing or a moment or a time period where you just kind of figure out, because you've always been a guy that works on your swing, tirelessly works on his swing to figure out where he wants to be. Did you ever figure out, was there ever a time where you're like, all right, I know what I'm trying to do now, and I know how to do that, and I feel it in every part of me?
Well, it's more of it's a feel thing, where like when I was younger, I would just kind of just try different batting stances.
Right, Cal Ripken.
Yeah, exactly. Try different batting stances out to see what was good, and because sometimes that actually kind of matters, because you can put your hands in a spot in a stance and just kind of find your path a little bit. But for me nowadays, it's because I hold my hands away from my body a little bit like Justin Turner, get back like him and everything like that. And I kind of figured out, it was this past year, it was when I was at Camden, we were playing in fall games. And I just kind of one day, me and my coach Merck, he's at Stockton University now, Ospreys, shout out.
Ayo.
But he was like, Fox, you're a good hitter, you got power and everything, and he he was a great coach. He kind of put me through the ringer with everything. But he said, you need to put your hands and everything like that in a spot where you can get to the ball better. You got fast hands, but you don't really put yourself in a good hitting position. So I was like, all right, well.
He changed after I worked with him.
Yeah. And so, so he was like, you need to do this, right? You need to get him back here like that or whatever. And I was like, well, I don't really know how to do that with where I'm at right now.
Right.
Okay, so then he was like, well, just try something unorthodox. Try something different. Hit like Kipnis if you have to. You know what I mean? If anybody doesn't know what Kipnis hits like, he holds his bat like straight back to the catcher. But so what I did was I just held my hands out like chest to like over the plate almost. Right. So like my hands were just completely out just out over the plate, and I just brought him back, just straight into my shoulder basically. And he was like, "That's it, right there. Mm-hmm. That's it." And I think for the next about 10 games in the fall, I think I hit about 400 with about, I don't know, 8 doubles. And I was
That's
like,
a good day.
I was like, well, I think I just found something. But I was always a little bit inconsistent with that at Camden, where I would experiment too much.
I'll agree with that.
I'm a very experimental hitter. I try a lot of different things before I find something I like. And
then when that stops working, you're like, "F it, I'm done."
Yeah, and then
because Goldschmidt was your guy, right?
Yes,
Goldschmidt was your guy.
He's still my guy.
Okay,
he's still my guy. I love that. He's my favorite player. I don't care what anybody says. And I think he's the best first baseman alive. I'm sorry for the Freddie Freeman fans out there, but he's the best first baseman alive.
I was going to Albert Pujols, dude. I'm the old guy that still likes Albie.
That's in the past, man.
No,
I'm just kidding. I love Albert. He's one of my favorites of all time. But Goldschmidt right now, he's at the point where he's experienced enough to be called a veteran.
Right.
Even though he's still pretty young. Besides the point. I've always been a pretty experimental hitter, and right now I feel good. I feel like I can get in there and be a guy, but not experimenting too much now.
Right.
I'm at the point. A couple years in college now, and if something works, stick with that and make adjustments from there. Don't tear it down and build it back up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's it, man. I like to, get in a spot and go from there.
Gotcha. So in our rhythm of the pod here, was it tough to go on as a senior on Fridays to go to school when it was Friday night football and you're not on the team?
I'll tell you what, for the first couple games, I debated even going. I really debated even going. And then, but my senior year kind of panned out almost like the perfect storm, where I let go and I just had fun. You know, I did all the school, like the school events or whatever, you know, pep rallies I was always into.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. And then I think I started going back to the games and stuff like that about third, fourth game in, and I signed up to be one of the Brave Boys.
Gotcha.
Which the Brave Boys, if people don't know, people don't go to Sockesty, these guys, they're shirtless, and they got paint on their bodies, and it spells out Braves, right? And there's always an exclamation point at the end. I was that guy.
Oh, you were the exclamation point.
I loved it. I was like, I want to be that because that would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like a B. You know what I mean? I want to be like the end cap.
I had a
you know
baby B.
Yeah, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be, you know, I want to be the end cap guy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I started doing that, and it really kind of took my mind away from, you know, like getting, like, just asking somebody to, like, give me some pads.
Right.
And so I can go back out there again.
And you're not sore as hell on Saturday morning either, are you?
Nope. No.
It's gotta be tough, man. I never got into football. Still, I watch college football. I'll watch NFL football when it's cold as hell outside and don't have nothing else to do.
College is more exciting.
Oh yeah, dude. But all right, so we're had a good going through your senior year of baseball. You have a good season. You're talking to
best year of my life.
Talking to some colleges, and how in the world did you end up in South Jersey from Little Myrtle Beach down here?
I'd tell you what, man. This was a hard deal for me. The recruiting stuff was a real hard deal for me.
It's weird, man.
I remember my junior year was the year I went out and did a bunch of camps and this and that and what I would call nowadays money takers.
Oh, yeah.
But
if you're good enough, they're gonna find you.
Yeah, but you know, I always thought that, you know, they already had a few guys they were already looking at, and that was all they were looking at.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
well, I'll tell you from experience too, and I might not ever get hired again from because of this statement. But I mean, I know for a fact I've been out at many of those showcases and stuff, and you write down the 60 times, and you know, and honestly, you can see a kid walk out there, and I'm already like, what number is this kid? Like, all right, he's number 19. All right, I'm marking him off just because I didn't like his shoes or something. You know what I mean? And not that anal, but some guys I was like, okay. And if he proved me different, you know, I wouldn't, you know, like circle it like, whoops, shouldn't have marked that out. But I mean, it's nobody's going to see you or care about you until you do something during that showcase. And even then, you're on a piece of paper, and they may call you, they may not.
Yeah,
and I mean, recruiting sucks, man. It's a weird deal.
Yeah, I was going to all these camps and everything like that, and trying to just figure it out. I also had that like a recruiting app I was on and everything, and just sending out like mass emails, like just trying to get something back. You know what I mean? I had a couple schools get back, went to their camps, nothing. I would do okay. Nothing.
So
you know what I mean?
we stopped playing. You're on our showcase team. We did that for the fall, and we did it in the spring, in the summer.
Yeah.
And then that was your sophomore year.
Yes.
Right? And then what did you do? Because we didn't have it the next couple of years, and I got away from that's a money making thing too. The showcases, traveling around for the $1,800 a tournament.
Yes, it is.
But who did you play for the last 2 years in the summer?
After you, I played for Shockwave.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
I was a part of two pretty damn good teams.
Right. What happened to them? I haven't heard nothing about them.
From what I heard was they turned into the Southern Athletics.
Oh, is that what happened?
I think the owner, he tore the Shockwave name down, brought it back up as something different. But we were good, man. We were really good.
That's good staff down there too.
Went to a couple perfect game national tournaments. Did really well. Beat some teams like I remember notably beat Scorpions baseball.
Oh, you knocked off East Cobb, Bo.
We did. We actually beat them too.
Oh, let's go.
We beat them too. We were really good, man.
I got a funny off-air story to tell you about the East Cobb thing.
No. But being on those teams and stuff like that, I was on a couple teams that were really good, and I had some really good summers. Junior year, school ball, didn't have the greatest year, and it was like, I think that was a part of being discouraged about teams not calling me. And looking back at it now, if I didn't focus on that, man, I would have had a much better year. Right. And then I remember it was a summer going into my senior year. No, I'm sorry. It was right before baseball season, and I was still of my senior year, and I still wasn't getting any calls or anything like that. And then one day I came back home from a spring practice one day. We're still in preseason, and I got a call from. Next, let me backtrack. I actually had a moment. I don't tell the story a lot, but I actually had a moment. I was hitting the backyard with my dad, and I was just having a bad day. Just a bad day. I was just discouraged about everything, baseball-wise and everything. And he was soft-tossing me, just wasn't having a good round. And I just threw my bat on the ground, man. I started crying. And I told my dad, I said, if I have to pack up my shit and go across the country to play baseball, I will do it. I just need somebody to give me a chance. And I was really emotional about it because I love baseball more than anything.
Right.
Absolutely more than anything. And I swear to God, about a week later, I was going home from practice, and I got a call from John Merck, head coach at Camden County College at the time, and he said, I saw your videos and everything like that, and I need you to come on a visit. He said, I really feel as though that you'd be pretty good here, and I said, I'll go right now, because you're the only one knocking, man. I'll come right now.
Right. And where did he see you at?
He just saw me on a recruiting app.
Nice.
Yeah.
I actually had a few guys at Stanley that I didn't. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't open some of them, and some of them have a little preview thing.
Yeah.
And if I saw that, I'm like, all right, let's check this kid out. And plus, where he's from, academic-wise, what his GPA is, not that it's hard to get into our junior college. It wasn't, but just what the dynamics fit.
Yeah.
But those recruiting tools work, man. Yeah. Obviously, you're a testament.
And then I went on my first visit there in I think it was December. And
is that D1, D2?
JUCO D3.
D3. Stanley was D2.
Yeah,
you ought to beat the crap out of us. I saw this guy play this spring up at Ripken. You ought to beat the mess out of us.
Hey, I tell you what though.
We had Matt High on the mound. Shout out to Matt.
If anybody's thinking about JUCO D3, that's like the bottom of the bottom.
Nope.
Let me tell you something. This past year, there was about 10 guys get drafted out of my conference.
Right.
They're in New Jersey or in the northeast of the part of the country. Region 19, JUCO D3, that is the premier conference. I'll take it over any JUCO conference in America.
We were talking about that with Austin Padgett. Was, it doesn't matter. It's not football or basketball. You don't have to go to Alabama, Duke, UCLA. Baseball. If you're good at any level, they will find you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what cross-checkers jobs are and all that stuff. They'll find you, man.
Yep. And after that happened, after I verbally committed and everything, it was just a weight, like a rock.
Oh, sure.
It just came off my back, and that was the year I wrestled too. I wrestled because I didn't have football anymore, but I told myself, I was like, who would I be if I still wasn't a two-sport athlete?
Right.
And I was like, man, I've always wanted to wrestle, and so I wrestled because it was something I always wanted to do since I was in middle school, and I did that, and that was the funnest shit I ever did in my entire life. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. We had some random bomb going off here outside the podcast room.
There you go. But I wrestled, and that was awesome, man. And I wasn't any good, but I won a few matches, and it was pretty hype. But wrestled 220. That was my weight class, and I remember I lost about 30 pounds before that season even started.
Right.
And did that, and that was one of the coolest things ever. And then fast forward to my senior year baseball season, my mind was clear. You know what I mean? That was probably, still to this day, probably my favorite year of any sport I ever did. It was awesome, man.
That's sick. That's sick. Did you and you'd never wrestled before?
No, never did.
You just learned, just did it.
I just only watched WWE.
There you go. That's it. We're gonna get WWE. So you get up to Jersey, and you have a pretty good freshman year.
Yeah.
Right. It's definitely a transition, man. I after I got through my beginning slump, I think I started like 0 for 9 or something as a freshman, and then after that it warmed up. I couldn't hit in cold, man. I don't know how you did it up there in Jersey, but once we got it heated up a little bit. I think it was 0 for 9 or 0 for 11, one of the two, and then I just started stroking. It finally clicked. But I'm telling you, again, you think you're the big guy in high school. It don't matter where you are. College pitchers are pretty damn good.
I was happy with the way my freshman year of college kind of panned out. It came in hot right into the fall. I hit a couple homers, hit a bunch of doubles and everything like that, and I was looking pretty good for the spring season, and started the first about 10, 11 games, and then hit a wall. The guy behind me had a beautiful game at the plate. Homer, a couple doubles, just a real complete game from him, and that's where like the mental block came for me, where I knew I could get it back physically, but mentally I was tapped out because I was never really in a position where I lost a job before.
Right, that's tough. You're in a new situation.
And looking back at it, I'm so happy with the way that year went out, because it kept me hungry for my sophomore year. And my sophomore year was much better.
Right.
Much better.
And one thing more adversity struck, right before the school year starts, you get a text message that says you'll have a different coach.
Yeah, man. I played, under John Merck my freshman year in the fall of my sophomore year. Great coach, man. I loved him. We had a good relationship.
Right, yeah, he's a guy that he believed in you from the beginning, obviously.
He was the one that gave me a chance.
And now you're working through mental stuff, physical stuff, and you got a guy coming in that you don't know if he gonna like you, he's gonna give you a hug, or go tell you to go kick rocks.
And I don't think Coach Tommy's gonna listen to this or anything like that, but
he better shout out everybody in Jersey.
Coach Tommy Johnston, great guy.
He works with the show, right?
Yes,
Mid-Atlantic?
Mid-Atlantic show. He's kingpin out there, man. He is basically baseball Don out there.
I hope Frank Nicolosi hears this right now. You got a guy taking your crown right now.
Well, I mean, in terms of he knows everyone,
right?
You know what I mean? No, Frank, Frank's awesome, man, and he knows that, and he knows I know that.
And shouts to Frank though. Frank is the best catching guy I've ever met. And
I hope he goes over to Camden soon.
There you go.
I don't want to give nothing away, but I hope he goes over to Camden soon.
There you go.
But but Tommy, he's a big name out there, man, and he came over and kind of switched everything up, and I still did fine. It wasn't much of a big thing for me, but obviously the opportunities would have came more often if Merck was still there.
Right.
But it was a fun year, man. My roommate was awesome. Shout out Dalton Penix. That dude's gonna be doing big things.
No, center fielder or second baseman?
He was catcher, outfielder.
Catcher. Okay.
Yep. Little brute, man.
I hear you. And who is the? Because I cannot remember his name right now. The big lefty that threw on your BCBL team. Oh my! I had it in my phone, I think. But that kid's a stud. But you guys had a ex-major leaguer playing right field for y'all, or whatever on Camden this past year. Who was that right fielder? That was an absolute stud. So
no, Eli. No, he was.
That Eli is not his name. This guy is straight off the boat from Puerto Rico, bro.
No, man, Eli Agostini, what a guy.
He was a baller, bro. I don't know. I saw him for 2 games, man. But dude, I think that kid. Wow. I walked up and I looked at your dad. I said, "Who the hell is this guy?" He's like, "I think he just got cut from the Phillies or something."
No, a funny story about him is, and it was just like my buddy Dominic Lopez, D-Lo for short, my freshman year. He kind of took me under his wing, and he was a Cumberland guy, Cumberland County College, right beside Camden. and big rivalry between us. But he went to Cumberland, didn't really work out his freshman year, came to Camden, and he was a guy for us. But same thing with Eli. Eli, it was like he's a stud, and he's always been a stud. And went to Cumberland, and didn't really pan out for him over there because, look, I don't got anything good to say about Cumberland, so I'm not going to say it.
It's
at
a
all.
rival.
Yeah.
Me and University of North Carolina.
Yeah, but he came over and laid an impact on this team as like a mid-season transfer type guy. And he was awesome, man. But they're real good group of guys, and the thing I can say that I love the most about this team from this past year was every sophomore that I played with, going from freshman year to sophomore year, we all came there together, and we all left and went to different schools.
Wow.
Yeah,
You don't
every single sophomore, we all
That's
did.
tough.
Yeah, man.
That's cool, man. So you're going through your sophomore year of college, at a junior college. You're trying to figure out what the hell your next step is, what you're going to do in life, and you're going to these. You'll have some pro days, right?
Yep.
And the coach from West Virginia Wesleyan sees you.
Yeah, we had in the fall we had a scout day. It's called a scout day for us, and we just do like a little pro style workout, 60, which whatever.
what 7'1"? 7'2"?
I wish.
Hey, just so you guys know, when Fox Wagner is done with his, hopefully he plays baseball for a very long time, and when he's done with that, we're going to take up we're going to do a GoFundMe page, and we're going to get passports bought, and we're going to get a plane ticket and a hotel room over in, is it Japan or Korea? Korea. They do a bunting derby, and just because Fox can hit a ball 450 feet, don't slack on his bunting. Don't mess with him about this dude lays down some money bunts. And we just saw this thing on Twitter where they have a bunting derby and they have all these targets lined up. Fox Wagner's gonna win that in the year 2037.
Yeah.
So 2037, we're going to Korea.
No. I forgot what we were talking about.
So you're at your scout day, and you ran a super fast 60.
Yeah. Well, like a 5.2 or something. No, and then we did that, and then we do, infield, outfield, and then hitting, and then we play like a little 5-inning game. Well, the infield portion of everything, I'm a fairly decent first baseman, so I did that pretty well. And then we got into the hitting part, and I swear to you, those 3 rounds of BP that I had were probably the best rounds of BP that I ever had in my entire life. I mean, seriously. And then we played a little game, and it was actually right after my BP rounds. The guy from West Virginia Wesleyan, he was like, I want to talk to you after the day's end. I was like, all right, cool,
Right.
Cool.
A little breather there.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
And then so we got into the game, so I'm confident now, right? And I have some good at-bats. I lined out to left in my first at-bat, and then my second one, I think I walked. And then my last at-bat, I hit a ball very far. Let's put it that way. But it was about 3 feet foul.
Right. But you showed the power.
Yeah, so basically, in my head, it was like, well, at least they got to see it.
Right.
What potentially. So I was like, I'm okay with that.
And see, that's the funny thing is, just like I say to a lot of guys, you're wired differently. Because now, number one, you said, he talked to you and said, I want to see you at the end of the day. And you're pumped now, like, all right, let's go play. Yeah. Where a lot of guys be like, oh, shit, I got a guy watching me now. I know this guy. And then you take one of BP's teammates played in the Palmetto games. And I think he went like 0 for 4 or 5 on the weekend with 5 Ks. Young guy, super young guy, playing against the best in South Carolina. And one swing he hits, about goes out at USC, and it's foul. But he's still pissed off after. And that's not the way. I mean, no, you showed him at your age, you can still get one out of this college field. Like, you had a good day. No matter result-wise, you had a good day. They got to see it.
Showed good swings.
And for you to even be able to sit there as a player or a person and say, you understand, you get that, that's what separates you from a lot of guys. Yeah, and then after we played the game and everything, he walked up to me and, gave me the whole deal about, wanting to see me in the future and everything like that. Gave me the card, and I stayed in touch with him after that. And I didn't see too many other schools knocking on my door, so I said, I'm gonna take that. You know what I mean? Which is blasphemy to me. I mean, I was talking to Jake Russell. Shouts Jake. He shared something about the kid that we talked about earlier. The kid threw 96 at the Radar Speed Challenge, and then the A's sign him, and then
Yeah.
he strikes out his first 3 batters he faced.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, like scouts, and I was thinking about this the other night watching a major league game. I don't watch many of them, to be honest with you, just because I'm still salty and I can't. But I watch playoff baseball. But
yeah.
Guys get locked into this mold and this mode where, this is what we're recruiting. 5-tool guy, 4-tool guy, and they put like metrics on the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's a lot of guys out there that you can't put a metric on. You just if you gave them a chance, and I'll say this in every baseball podcast. Giovanni Thomas, kid I coached in BCBL, he's up here or up in Jersey or now, from New York up in Jersey now, with his wife and little baby boy putting in security systems to houses, and can still hit. I guarantee you, he can out hit most of the guys in single A right now.
Yeah,
and he hasn't hit in a year.
Definitely.
It's just, it's odd. It's weird.
Yeah, definitely, man. And there was that's actually a funny story, man. There was this guy. He played for us this past year. I won't give him the full game, but we just call him Grandpappy Fletch. Right? Yeah, because he's 25 years old. Still playing, like he was playing JUCO ball with us.
Gotcha.
And we
need to get him on. That's got to be a hell of a story.
Yeah, oh my God. And to put it in perspective, I think his first year at Camden, like coming in, it was like 2014 or something like that. Like 2013 or 2014. So, it's funny because he didn't even play. He was a pitcher. He wasn't even pitching for a pretty damn while, like a pretty long time, and just kind of came back and was like, I guess I'll come back and pitch.
Is that the guy you came out with?
What's
at Soccer City that day?
No.
No, okay.
No. No, it was Q. But
Q.
Yeah, no, but Fletch, man, he just came back and he was throwing 85 plus, and he wasn't even, he didn't even pitch in 2 years,
right.
Just something like it's like what I was saying with like muscle memory. Yeah. It comes in different ways.
Yeah, for sure. So we were working out during the summer. You go up, you do your visit.
Yeah.
You like everything?
It was good, man. It was old school, but it's got stuff I see that I can build on. Like the field's nice and everything like that, but the thing I liked the most was what impressed me the most was the weight room. Right. The weight room was awesome. It was like an old like
the Manimal. He'll be in there destroying it next week.
70s style like Gold's Gym type thing, man. It was just racks.
Sweat gyms, baby.
Yeah.
Sweat gyms.
It was. I think I even might have saw a couple like with them big rounded dumbbells.
You gotta love
from
those.
Like the 50s,
like the old iron ones.
Yes.
Just drop it on the toe. It's broken. Yeah. Shattered foot.
It's like 40 pounds, but you have to figure out how to pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a cinder block with a bar on it. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, man.
So, Coach he's been there a while, or?
Yeah, man. About a little over, I think, 20 years.
Sweet. He's a lifer.
Tenured guy, man.
Gotcha. So obviously, we wish you nothing but the best at West Virginia Wesleyan, and awesome career thus far. Love watching you. We always post stuff on the Diamond Wizards Baseball Twitter when we get videos of Fox going yard. He seems to do it often.
Yeah.
But outside of baseball and outside of football and wrestling, and you as an athlete, obviously you're getting married. He did shout out wifey there.
That's in the future. Yeah, that's in the future.
Now, did she go to Sox D with you?
She went to Sox. She was a 2018 graduate. I was a year older than her, but she went to Sox D also.
Gotcha. And you guys are able to be cool throughout the being far away.
Yeah.
She's still in Myrtle Beach going to school, and you're 8 hours away.
Yeah.
And what were you in Jersey?
12,
yeah,
about 12 hours away.
So that's awesome, man. Best of luck to you guys with that, also.
Thank you.
Outside of sports, obviously, Hampton Roberts. It looked like it go fast.
Oh God, dude.
I've been waiting for that one.
Yeah.
But Fox has a dope Dodge Ram. If you can't dodge it, ram it, buddy.
Yeah.
But you're a truck guy, WWE guy.
Yeah, man.
You share some stuff with some headbanging music. What is Fox Wagner off the diamond?
Unorthodox. Unorthodox, man.
I love that.
I'm a nerd for a lot of things, Obviously, I've been watching wrestling since I was a little kid. You know what I mean? Since I was, third grade, I was watching wrestling.
And that's one of the things I try to do with my kids is like you gotta like step out and
Yeah,
expand your knowledge,
Yeah.
expand what you're doing. You can't do the same thing every day. If you just watch
Yeah.
baseball every day,
Yeah.
like you're not gonna, you gotta learn other stuff.
The only thing I do if I'm not on the field or working or or like if I'm not playing ball or practicing or whatever, I'll watch a little bit of MLB Network or stuff like that. But other than that, like when I'm off the field or not in the cage or something like that, I don't really think about baseball that much.
Right.
And that was a really big thing for me. I listened to. It's funny because I actually listened to. We're on a podcast right now, but I listened to. I'd probably say about 10 different podcasts.
Right. And it's crazy, man. It's funny.
Yeah.
I always joke about Mike Stud, the rapper.
Yeah.
And like he'll put a song out, and it's like, dude, what are you watching me? Like
Yeah.
you're saying the things that are happening in my life, and I'm thinking about at the time. And then I was listening to one of his newest podcasts today, and he was talking about how Joe Rogan is the one that made him want to do a podcast. I'm like, dude, I just said that to my wife. Like Joe Rogan, if you listen to it, he expands your knowledge. He talks about different things, and I was like, dude, this is cool. Like this guy's amazing.
It's funny because I started listening to podcasts my senior year of high school in the second semester of my senior year, and it was because I also watch UFC stuff. I'm a nerd for that too.
Oh yeah, Tito Ortiz was my guy back in the day.
No, so I think I was on YouTube one day in math class because I didn't pay attention to math. I hate math.
Yeah.
But we're in math class and I was like, man, I'm bored. We go on YouTube while he's instructing, probably something that I would do. And I just started listening to Joe Rogan. It was a clip about Joe Rogan talking about I think he was probably talking about John Jones or something like that. And then so I started watching more clips. I started watching like the Joe Rogan funny moments or whatever with Joey Diaz or something like that, which shout out Joey Diaz. I watch his podcast every week too. But it's weird because podcast has given me an avenue to a lot of things.
Right.
Not just building knowledge from podcasts. You know what I mean? Like I don't watch the news because I watch podcasts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like actually, I'm a nerd for stand-up comedy now because of podcasts.
Exactly.
Most of the podcasts I watch are stand-up comedians.
Right.
And
it's easy to take something you hear on a podcast and say that sounds cool.
Yeah.
But if you really dive into it in depth and if your heart's leaning a certain way and you're like that's I want to learn about that.
Yeah.
Go do it. Like I'm sitting here, I got my book right here. If you guys have listened to the podcast, you hear me talk about the 7 spiritual laws of success.
Okay.
And I would have never known about that except for listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
And I'm still practicing the first one, which has 3, and it's changed me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so if you dive into something, go all in, man. It's enlightening, and it's able to. I was a guy. I would never think I would even entertain the fact of meditating.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I'm trying to do that right now once a day. It's hard, and then you do it. You're supposed to do it twice a day, and then don't judge anything, and then be with nature and stuff are the first 3 laws, and it's podcast has allowed me, like you're saying, to really grow and know things that you would have never known or even took part in and be passionate about.
It expands your knowledge, man. But now, like, I started listening to podcasts and stuff like that because I wanted to, and maybe I didn't think this at the time, but it was like I was kind of doing the same thing every day. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just normal routine stuff. And then once I started listening to podcasts, it took me out of like just thinking about the same stuff every day. So like one day I'll listen to this podcast. I mean, at this point now I'm listening to, I'd probably say upwards to about 3 podcasts a day, probably.
Right. Always natural sponge first, right?
Yeah. Well, I listen. I've listened to every single episode.
Attaboy.
But nah, man, it's just like I wake up and I'll watch like wrestling news videos or something like that.
Go.
Like like.
So who's your favorite wrestler? Because you're a big WWE guy.
Right now. Oh man, I'd probably say Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens.
Who's
your favorite all time?
All time.
Shawn Michaels. That's my guy. That's my guy forever.
That's a good one, man. I'd probably say Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle.
Him and Sean had some awesome matches back in the day.
God.
I love Sean so much because not only with his charisma and everything he did, but also the fact that he was a pioneer in the sport because he did the first ever Hell in a Cell. He did the first ever casket match.
With Taker.
He did. Oh yeah, that was a crazy one, man. And it was weird, man, because he always was all in. Like I remember I have his like big box set DVD, and like a lot of behind the scenes stuff was on there, and they're talking about they get the cage, the first Hell in a Cell, they get it done, and Sean and Taker go in there, just on a random day into this warehouse where it's being built, and Sean gets with Vince McMahon, and he's like talking to him, and he's like, "Look, what if we did this? Can we make this happen? Can we make this happen?
Yeah.
And can we get this section of the cage to fall through? And he was very he had some balls on him, man. I wouldn't have done that stuff.
I think the turning point. I think wrestling was, as far as like the longest time as I saw it, I watched it. It was by the book, man.
Right.
Wrestling is by the book.
Right.
And
just
like a lot of things.
Right. And I grew up during the Attitude Era, which it was raw, it was filthy, it was crazy. It was cool.
And I grew up. I mean, I saw the tail end of that a little bit.
Right. DX, baby.
Yeah, I saw the tail end of that a little bit. So that wasn't really my era. I grew up on like the Ruthless Aggression era.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Batista, Booker T, Triple H, these guys like that. But then it wasn't until 2011 when CM Punk did the infamous pipe bomb.
Yep.
That's when wrestling changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it did, for sure.
And now like it's all these independent promotions getting like real big heat now. You know what I mean? So like New Japan's super hot. You know what I mean? This new promotion coming out, AEW, super hot. You know what I mean? They got Jericho on there now and stuff like that. Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks are.
Yeah, and that was probably about the same time
running that.
That's probably about the same time that Vince bought WCW, right? Or was that a little before?
That Vince bought.
Because that changed a lot. Because I know during
no, WCW just kind of they kind of just went away.
Yeah, well, I think
they went away.
I might be wrong, but because Sean and Bret Hart had that the screw job, the Montreal screw job,
'97.
Yeah, where they lied and had a different outcome than they were supposed to, and all that stuff. And it was because Bret was leaving to go back to WCW. And it wasn't many years later till WCW phased out and all that.
But I think wrestling's I've argued this with people before. Wrestling right now is the best wrestling in the world. Like of any generation, this is the best wrestling.
Like on in ring.
Everything. The styles have changed, man. It's completely different. It's right now. It's the work rate era. You know what I mean? Where nobody really cares. Like back in the day, it was charisma. If you're good on the mic, you're doing this, and you had a good 3-4 moves that popped every time. Yeah. Right. Where nowadays is you get popular because of how good you are at wrestling.
Right. And you think that might be because generationally it's changing because the guys like me that grew up
internet.
Right. Everybody sees it now. Yep. I remember people telling stories that they used to have to watch it Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. It would come on for 30 minutes or something.
Yeah. And like back in the day in WWE, if there was a really good wrestler that came from over, like let's say over from like Japan or something like that, they're leaps and bounds better than these guys in WWE. But nobody knows it.
Right.
Like so, let's say
he can't talk and hold a crowd in an interview, so it's not going to be as promotionally correct.
Let's say if I'll name out a big like the Young Bucks.
Right.
If they came over, it would never happen. But if they ever came to WWE, to the casual fan, they may or may not know them. But if you're in a WWE arena and they come out, it's gonna be a huge pop. It's gonna be huge because people see them on the internet or whatever. And if you're a big enough wrestling fan, more guys outside of WWE.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, for sure.
It's changed. Wrestling is at its finest right now.
So what favorite band? Favorite
Right.
band.
Right now,
Yeah.
Slipknot.
There you go.
Slipknot,
All
baby.
time.
No,
I
I'm
saw-
a maggot, man. I'm a maggot through and through.
I saw a video on Facebook the other day of a Slipknot concert, and this guy had this crazy white mask on his face, and I couldn't understand a word he was saying, dude. But my roommate in college, rest in peace, RPM, Ryan, he would listen to that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And it gets me hyped when I would get in the weight room. I don't do it no more, obviously, but when I would
Yeah.
be in the weight room, I would rock to that stuff. It was a vibe.
I listen to it just driving down the road.
There you go.
I'm just
Turn on my nighttime music.
Yeah. You know, but here's
Helmet was who he listened to. Helmet
Oh,
was his
okay,
band.
yeah, I know that. No, but it's not like people kind of categorize like heavy metal or whatever as screamo.
Yeah.
That's what they categorize it as, and I don't want to say I take offense to that because I'm not that big of a nerd.
Yeah.
But I just feel as though it's a sound that
Yeah.
you don't like. You don't
Right,
like it
right.
because like they're just screaming.
Right.
People have millions of people have an ear to that.
Right. And
You
just
know what
like
I
we got his CD right here, his album right here, Alan Bybee with Grasstown. You know, people don't like bluegrass.
Yeah.
Some people don't. It's the same thing. You know, if it connects with you,
Yeah.
boom, do it. And you're not a nerd. You're just well-rounded.
Yeah. Well,
That's
yeah.
for sure.
Vast horizons.
Well, probably the last time we'll see you, man, before you get back to college.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully, obviously, as always, hope everything goes as well as possible for you as it can.
Yeah.
You know, if there's any links that we can watch some fall games on or like that.
I hope there's like a live stream or something like that we can because when I find that out I'll blast that out to my parents and you and whoever.
Right. And we go to Ohio a few times a year, see Megan's family. So I mean, we'll be able to
You're right there.
drop by.
Yeah.
We go through Charleston, so
Yeah.
not too far. One last thing, real quick. What one of the best DW story you remember? One of the best. It could be the worst thing too. I don't know. I don't think I yelled at you guys that much, but
I remember people, especially parents, might call this a bad memory or something like that or something. But for me, it was awesome because like that's just kind of how I am. And
is this me slamming a clipboard again? Or?
No, it pertains to you. I actually have a couple moments I want to talk about, but the first one first and foremost because I thought it was funny, but also like, intense. We're having we're on a little bit of a skid, and I don't remember where we were at, but we were just having a string of bad games, making some errors in the field and stuff like that, and I'm over there playing third base, and I see you just got pissed off, and you had a bucket of balls and you threw it across the dugout. And it was like, I was over at third base, I was like, that's because that we're not motivated to win. He's trying to do something to get us a little bit fired up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then and the other thing, my favorite memory was I think we might have been in Charleston or something like that. And I remember I went to you and Jacob Russell's hotel room, and we were watching Bull Durham,
right?
And you were just talking about like you're just giving out Stanley stories and stuff like that, and it was just cool.
Yeah, man.
Because I never really had a connection with a coach and with like that until then,
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Well, as always, wish you the best,
Yeah,
and as always, stay in touch. Like I said, Fox, first ballot Hall of Famer with the Diamond Wizards.
First ballot, baby.
But thanks everyone for listening. I want to make sure we shout out Gervais Syndrome Foundation. Actually talked to a guy today about it. Hopefully that works out for your granddaughter or your relative. And at Cure Gervais on Twitter. Make sure you check us out on Twitter, Instagram. RSS feed is being done as we speak, ladies and gentlemen. So that's going to be cool. We're going to be on Podbean. It's going to get everything poofed out into podcast world. Make sure you guys stay natural. That's my new little. You like that little tagline?
Like
Stay natural, baby.
That's cool.
That's cool.
It's like Ron Burgundy.
Right. Go yourself, San Diego.
Yeah.
But no, stay natural. What that means is don't be full of shit. Be you and just do what you got to do to be a good person. And as always, help your fellow neighbor out. And we out, baby. Yeah.